So I want to appreciate you, Your Excellency, and wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as I invite you to address this congregation and make your remarks. I want to ask all of us to be upstanding to welcome His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, Your Excellency, the President.
Asante sana Waziri. Please, let's take our seats. Thank you very much. Ministers present, our good friend, the proprietor of Tough Steel, and now this Imaara Mall, business people present here this evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Hamjambo. Rafiki yangu Bwana Tough Steel, kwanza mimi nataka nikupongeze. Congratulations for what we have seen. You have built a wonderful mall here from a business which you have built in Kenya, commonly known as Tough Steel, which is known to many of us. You have built that business from scratch. I want to stand here and say congratulations. Congratulations for what we see in Tough Steel and in this Imaara Mall is a sign of confidence in our country and a stamp of approval on the investment climate we have in our country. It is always a difficult decision to make an investment of the magnitude that we see here. I want to say to all the investors in the Republic of Kenya that we will continue to you, my good friend, and to all the other investors in our country, that we will continue the conversation with every investor to make sure that the government of Kenya is doing that which promotes the investment environment and the climate to do business in Kenya. In assembling the cabinet, I did make a deliberate frame of having a ministry that's going to be responsible for investment, for trade, and for industry. Because we have witnessed a decline in our industrial and manufacturing sector in Kenya over the last 10 years. And if we have to catch up with what we need to do as a country in terms of creating jobs, creating wealth, and eliminating poverty, we have to change the trajectory of our investors, our industrialists, and our manufacturers. And that is why I am very proud, standing here today, that Tough Steel has been the front of many industries in cement and in steel especially. Mombasa Cement, represented by Ashu here, our friend, would not do as much if they didn't have an ecosystem of people who sell their products like Tough Steel and many others across Kenya. Many of our steel manufacturers would not do as well if they didn't have people like Tough Steel and others who provide the front and the market and build the networks and the ecosystem to ensure that products from our factories, from our industries, get to the market and to the end users. So congratulations. I want to commit that we have already sat down with our Kenya Association of Manufacturers, with KEPSA, and with our small businesses. And we have agreed, including the Kenya Chamber of Commerce, that we are going to move our manufacturing, agro-processing, value addition, industrialization to be 20% of the contribution they make to our GDP. And we have agreed that the metrics is 20 by 30, that we will get to 20% contribution by our manufacturing and industrial sector by 2030. And I want to encourage those of us in this room and those of us not in this room that the trajectory of the government of Kenya is how we are going to do more around agro-processing, around manufacturing, and around industrialization. That is why we are building an ecosystem around not just where we are doing our business, we're also building an ecosystem in our special economic zone and even in our other zones to make sure that we begin the journey to enhance our competitiveness and to attract investment, starting with local investors like Tough Steel, because they will take the cue. Investors from outside Kenya will take the cue from local investors. If local investors demonstrate confidence in our economy, then foreign investors will follow and take the cue from our local investors and also have confidence in our economy. So we must work together collectively to build this confidence as a nation. I know that there are challenges. The executive director, my good girl here, said government needs to improve on matters to do with VAT refunds and making sure that there is adequate liquidity in the economy so that companies and industries and manufacturers do not get stuck in that quagmire. So, and I want to promise you that I did undertake that we are going to digitize all government services, including payments, so that it becomes much more easy to reconcile between our investors, our manufacturers, our industrialists, with the Kenya Revenue Authority, so that we don't take inordinate time to settle our dues to our manufacturers or industrialists or business people. And we are signing today, latest tomorrow, the agreement on how in the next 6 months, we're going to digitize all government services, including payments. We will then enhance and increase the efficiency of government in delivering on its commitment and its mandate and its obligation to industry so that we can be able to move together. As we do this, as we improve the efficiency of government, as we increase the transparency of government services, as we digitize, we will also ensure that every individual or company or industry also pay their bit of taxes. I think it is scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? For us to be able to deploy the kind of infrastructure that you need, whether it is road, whether it is rail, whether it is energy, whether it is security, we need the taxes so that we can be able to make it easier for you to get a return on your investment in whatever sector you are investing in. And therefore, all of us there will be no opportunity to have 2 pairs of books. You know which ones I'm referring to. You know? There is a book for the taxman, and then there is another book. So we will have to agree that there will be no 2 books. We will all be on one system. We are going to digitize every system so that everybody pays taxes, and government also lives up to its obligation of making sure that if there are refunds by government, they should be made in a timely manner so that we don't strangle business and we don't stall business in doing the things they are doing to make our country grow and our economy to grow. So we are going to work together. I also want to say that as we go into the future, we will invest in the programs that will also give us a return, a social return and an economic return. Social return in terms of creating jobs, and also an economic return putting money in people's pockets. I have had Tough Steel that they will work with us in our housing program. And I welcome all of us to work together as we focus on ensuring that all our cities and towns, we get rid of informal settlements so that we can create habitation that is habitable for the citizens of our country. And I want to correct the notion. There are many people who believe that low-cost housing is equivalent to low-quality housing. That is not the case. Low-cost housing is because we will take some of the costs as government. We have decided that on matters to do with land, we will go out of our way as government to make sure that land is available so that we get at least 30% of the cost from the cost of housing, because it's contributed to by land. And then we will look at other services. We will have services to do with water. We will supply sewage. We will make sure there are adequate roads to the settlements we are building. Again, to reduce on the cost of housing so that every citizen can have access to affordable housing. And we can have a bigger portion of our society owning homes. And that is the way into the future. You are aware that we have less than 40,000 mortgages in an economy that we should be having maybe 2 million mortgages. But it's because we are building houses that are out of reach for many working Kenyans. And that's why we are making this deliberate move. In Nairobi alone, we are already constructing 40,000 houses. It is my intention that in the next year, we will be doing another 100,000 houses in Nairobi alone and doing another 100,000 houses around Kenya, so that we can not only create jobs, we can not only have homes for Kenyans to live in, but we can also give business to Tough Steel and all the manufacturers. So I guess it's a win-win. So I am very happy to join you this evening as we celebrate this success, and also to tell you that to thank all the people here who have made contributions in kind and in cash to support the rest of our society, especially in this season because of the challenges we have with drought, because of the Christmas season that is coming. We will all need to move together. Thank you very much, good people, for the contributions you have made. I am equally very happy that the boots that we have been donated here and the boots for our military and our police are now being produced locally. I think our plan, and that is the plan we have around the Naivasha Industrial City, is to make sure that every pair of shoe worn in Kenya, worn in East Africa, worn in our continent is made locally. and all the leather products that are associated. We have already started a conversation with our leather industry. We are losing close to 60% of our leather to waste, and it is my intention that we turn that around, because there is absolutely no reason why we are not a premier exporting country of leather products, yet we have the third largest herd of livestock in Africa. Since we have the raw material, we have the human capital, we have the know-how, there is absolutely no reason why we should not be producing our own leather products, our own shoes, and we should not be exporting to the continent of Africa. We are still importing 13, 15 million pairs of shoes every year. It is not right, it's not correct. And that is why going forward, we're going to pull together and we're going to make sure that we focus on the things that will ensure that we carry our industrial sector along, all our manufacturers, and take this country to the next level. So Tough Steel and your associates, you have the support of the Republic of Kenya, you have the support of the government of Kenya as you do the good job of investing in our country, because that's the direction in which this country can go for us to grow our economy. Let me also thank my good brother, the CEO of Naivas. Congratulations for providing a market for our farmers. Kenya is a premier country. I have been to many parts of our region, and I have discussed with many of the leaders around our region. And they believe that Kenya is punching below its weight. And so what you're doing, Naivas, supporting our farmers, providing a market for our produce, is a journey in the right direction. And I want to promise you that the government of Kenya is going to support you, support all the other off-takers of our agricultural produce, and we are going to work with you as we forge into the East African market, using the East African community, and as we forge into the Africa market, using the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We're going to work together in that direction, so that we can not only provide a market for farmers and the products farmers produce locally, but we can expand that market into our region. There is absolutely no reason why Africa still imports tons and tons of food from other regions of the world when Kenya can produce that food, and we can feed into the Africa market. And finally, I also want to tell you and tell the investors who are here that there will be coming investment opportunities that will be presented to you in Nairobi, because we want to recover the place of Nairobi as the hub of our region. Nairobi is the place, Nairobi should be the go-to place. That's why the government of Kenya is going to be unveiling investment opportunities in conferencing, in housing, in hotel industry, to be able to reposition Nairobi as the hub of our region, because that is what it should be, and that is what it is. So we are going to be discussing with many of you guys. I have had, when we were moving around, Tough Steel was telling me, tutafutie mahali pia tunaweza kujenga mall ingine. Sasa hiyo ndio kazi yangu. Mimi nawapanga vizuri, tupate watu ambao watainvest. Tuko na investment kubwa ya conference facility ambayo itakuwa hapa Nairobi. Tutakuwa na conference kubwa ya hoteli. We don't have enough hotels in this city. tuko na investment kubwa ya housing, and we are going to work with you. We are already talking to all the people in the pensions sector and all the other sectors to work with you so that we can use the resources that we have in building our country. And also just to say that we are sorting out matters to do with savings in our country. I want to encourage the people of Kenya. Investment that I have talked about is actually a function of savings. You cannot invest what you don't have. You have to save for you to invest. And we are working with the pension sector. We are working with the saving sector. And it is not rocket science. Let me give you an example. The Hustler Fund, which is hardly 20, how many days? The Hustler Fund, which is hardly 3 weeks, we have now a saving of 500 million shillings from the Hustler Funds in 3 weeks. It means we can save 30, 40 billion shillings from a small fund called Hustler Fund. And the savings is like 25 shillings, 50 shillings, you know? So we can build huge resources. Instead of us going to borrow other people's money, we should be borrowing our own money saved by our own citizens, building our own country and paying interest to our own citizens who are saving. The reason why we have gone to borrow from other countries is because those other countries are saving. Sisi tunakula yetu. Umesikia huyu jamaa amesema ilikuwa ni toa kitu kidogo, alafu toa kila kitu, alafu sijui. So we shouldn't be heading in that direction. Sasa amesema imebadilika, amesema sasa ni gani? Tuende kazi kwanza. Sasa hiyo nafikiri tuende kazi kwanza. Alafu kazi hiyo ingine tafanya baadaye. So mimi nawashukuru sana, asanteni sana, tusaidiane sisi wote kujenga taifa letu la Kenya. Kila mmoja wetu ajue ya kwamba ako na sehemu ya kuchangia katika kuboresha Kenya. Kila mmoja wetu, ile mali tunajenga, investment tunajenga kama hii, sio ya mtu mmoja, hii ni mali ya Kenya. Na Wakenya karibu 1,000 watafanya kazi hapa, wengine watafanya biashara. Nimeona mabenki ni wengi hapa, wanauza pesa, na wale wengine wanaendelea na biashara yao. Na nataka nishukuru ndugu yangu wa Naivas kwa kuwapatia wakulima wetu soko, mahali ya kuuza mali ya wakulima wetu. Na hiyo ndio barabara ya kujenga nchi. Na nimesema vile vile tusaidiane ili tuhakikishe ya kwamba taifa letu tunashirikiana sisi wote pamoja.